talking about wedges, one of my favorite topics to discuss in this game because the versatility of this club, and this is my 53-degree wedge, the versatility of the wedges is phenomenal. And understanding that it's not like your 7-iron goes a certain distance, and if you want 10 yards less with your shot, you just get your 8-iron. With this, you have to be able to control distances. I use this 53 for as long a shot as 110, and for as short a shot as, maybe 10. I mean, literally, like short. So you have to be able to control the speed of the club, the path of the club, the face angle of the club, to get the speed of the golf ball and the spin rate of the golf ball to get it to go the distance that you want with the shot that you're looking for. So I want to talk to you about how you're going to be able to do that. So let's just start with just a basic shot. In order for you to be able to be really good at this, you got to know how far, even though you might not hit it maximum, you got to know what your maximum is. So I told you before, I kind of count on this thing going about 110. Now, on a max. So here's a max. This is my max 53. I can't really go at that much harder than that. Okay? All right, now come on up to the front here and just take a peek at that. What I got was 109 yards in the air. So that right there, it's 110. If you're within a yard, good. Now, I had a lot of spin, so it spun back a yard, but I had 110. I hit it 109. You know what? There's not a single person who's going to send that back to R&D. That's my max, 110. So now what I need to figure out is how am I going to be able to take distance off of a shot, right? What are some of the things that can take distance off? Well, one of the popular things that you've been told is grip down on the club. So when you grip down on the club, you might grip down 2 inches and go, well, I just grip down 2 inches and I hit it as hard as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grip down 2 inches and then I'm going to hit this hard and let's see what the difference is. So that one, I hit hard. And what I got out of that, let's come up to the front. You can see that's short of that other one. That went about 102 yards. So I lost about, let's just say 5 to 8 yards on that shot. Very effective, but that's 2 inches down. Right? If I go more than that, I'm probably going to get a little bit less. Why do we get less? Well, the reason why we get less is when I grip down, I have to bend over more. So down the line shot, I'm bending over more. Well, when I bend over more, I just can't turn as much. So even though I feel like I'm making a full swing, I'm not making a full motion. All right? And you want to feel like when you grip down that you're bending over a little bit more. Because now I can swing full, but it won't be full. It will be shorter than full, which will take some speed out of that golf club. And if you get all the way down to the metal, and you should know how far this goes, so I go all the way down to the metal here, and now I'm going to go full again. I hit that one very solidly. That one there was very solid. And the distance is about the same. That one went 104. So it goes shorter, but not like you're thinking, well, I'm going to lose another 5 to 8. You're not. So what I would say is that if you are going to grip down, don't worry about going 2 inches, 1 inch. Just go all the way down. And you're going to lose about 5 to 8 yards. I promise you. That one I hit dead flush. It didn't go 110, didn't go 19. But what it did do was it went about 104 yards. So I lost, let's just say, 5 to 6 yards. So gripping down is a great way for you to be able to take some distance off of the golf club. Now, there's another thing that you can do with that as well, and that is add some loft. And what I like to do is just open up the club face so that when that club face is going down, I look at the angle that leading edge has, and that thing's going to go right into the middle of the toe box, which is right where your lead foot is. So I open that up to there. I can't tell you that I know how much loft is on that, but now I'm going to go back up to where I was before, and now I'm going to hit this shot. And I swung, I'm telling you, that club head speed was 80 miles an hour. That ball only went 86. Now, you got to appreciate this. That club is moving at 80 miles an hour. I moved my 6-iron at about 85. So that's not a big difference between those two clubs, even though there's a dramatic amount of distance that is different between this sand wedge and my 6-iron. That ball went 86 yards by opening it up to the toe box. And what it's, again, not important that you have it to the toe box like I have it. What's important is that you know exactly where it is so that you do it at the same time so you have a degree of predictability. You're going to swing at whatever mile an hour. I want it to be the same with the club in the same, so the loft delivery is the same, so all of a sudden I get the same distance. Now, what happens also, too, when you open up that club? You're going to get more backspin. That's why that thing right there is at 11,000 RPMs of backspin. Now, what I want you to do, and Greg, I'm going to ask you to pull up the tracer on this. I want you to see that when I open up that club face, which many people think, well, if I open up a 6-iron, it's going to curve a whole lot. That's how much that curved. That is literally feet. That curve distance right there is about 3 feet. It's not a tremendous amount. So even if you curve it 6 feet or 8 feet, it's still relatively straight. Okay, so opening up that club face will really make a difference in the distance. You can have some predictability of distance loss, right? So if I'm 110 and I get 85 out of that shot, now all of a sudden, quick math, that's a 25-yard gap. So now all of a sudden I have from 85 up to 110. And probably I can mix these up a little bit. In fact, I'll show you. So if I take the club face and I open it up so that it's pointing to the middle of the toe box and I grip down. So now I've still made the same swing. I'm still making a full swing. I haven't altered swing motion yet. So the club face is now set up so it's to that toe box. And now I'm going to go full swing. Now there's full swing. I flushed this one. And that one I got about 90 yards out of. Now, you sit there and you think to yourself, okay, well, how'd you get 90 out of that one? The other one you got 86. I missed the strike. And that's what will steal some distance from you. So you got to practice this, right? So I made much better contact on that one. The spin rate on that one also not quite as much. So I had about 10,000 RPMs of backspin versus 11,000. And what ends up happening when I have that is I have a steeper angle of attack when I grip down on it. So the steeper angle of attack is going to deliver maybe a little bit less loft. And all of a sudden, I get 91. Point being, everybody's different and you got to experiment with this. So what you learn at that point is if you make a full swing and you open up that club face, you might deliver a very, very similar, a very similar distance. And what's interesting about that, let's go back over here again, if you would, Gibbsy. What's interesting about that is this, and this is the fascinating part. The swing that I just made, I only had 76 miles an hour of clubhead speed. The one before was like 78, so it was better clubhead speed. And yet, I got better distance out of this. Why? Because a little bit steeper angle of attack. And maybe I didn't quite have the loft the exact same because the spin rate came down. And I hit it more in the center of the club face, which is really important to that. And all of a sudden, I got a 90-yard shot out of that, okay? So now, I got to take some more distance off. How am I going to take some more distance off? Well, there's a couple other things that you can do here. One of them is, again, still swinging full, is you can change the path of the golf club. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the club face, I'm going to open it up. And remember when we opened that thing up and I gripped it full, I lost some pretty good distance. But what I'm going to do on this one now, with it open, is I'm going to swing over to the left, to the pull side. So club face is going to be wide open here. Now I'm going to swing over to the left side here. So I swing over to the left-hand side there. I did get that one in the center of the club face. So now we come over here and look at what happens. So 80 miles an hour of clubhead speed, a lot more than the one that I had before. But the spin rate, another 1,000 RPMs more than I got before. So those are both up. And yet the distance is down. That went 84 yards. Why? Because when I start swinging over to the pull side, I'm changing the collision. And so all of a sudden, that 80 miles an hour of clubhead speed isn't reflected in the ball speed. The ball speed came down to 74.4 because as I'm swinging across, it's not a head-on collision anymore. It's a glancing blow. So fast club head speed, not as fast ball speed. That's why my club head speed is greater than the ball speed. And once I get greater club head speed than ball speed, I'm going to get more backspin. Okay? So that's another way that you can take some distance off. Let me share with you one other thing. And there are several ways to do this. And what I would recommend is go out there and practice this. Experiment with this. What do you feel comfortable with? So one other thing that you can do is you can limit the amount that you swing the club back, right? So now I'm going to go back to square. So square club face, normal grip position. But this time what I'm going to do is instead of going all the way up to the top here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn and I'm going to make sure that my lead shoulder doesn't get behind the ball. So my shoulders are only going to turn about 60%. So I'm going to go here and now hit that shot. Now, what I'm going to get out of that is I'm going to get a different loft delivery. So come on back over here. I'm going to get a different loft delivery because I'm square. I'm also going to get a slower club head speed. That club head speed is now 71 miles an hour. What you saw, though, is the ball speed is faster than the club head speed. And when that happens, spin rate is going to come down. So that one drops to 9,600. Because that loft is less, my launch angle is going to be less. That ball went 80 yards. So I got an 80-yard shot out of what, and I don't care whether you call it a half swing or a three-quarter swing. It doesn't matter to me. You just have to know, okay, how do I take some distance off? So this one I'm going to go, okay, I can go three-quarter swing, and this is a practice. Do you like swinging three-quarter? Because now what I have is I've got two shots that are basically going about the same distance. The one before was like 83, and this one is 81. So that's the same distance. But I got there two different ways. I still had spin. The ball still stopped. That one flew 81, spun back to 80. So it came back a yard. So it stopped right where I wanted to. Had plenty of backspin. Different way of getting there. What you need to appreciate is everybody's different. And when everybody's different, there are lots of different ways to do this. You're the artist. This is your paintbrush. And you have a lot of different ways for you to be able to take distance off. And what you need to be able to do is you got to be able to do it. Because when you get out on the golf course and all of a sudden you look up and you shoot it and you go, man, I've got a 95-yard shot. And it's in the back. The hole location's in the back. How am I going to be able to get that ball back to that hole location? And I've only shared with you a couple of different ways that you can take some distance off. Okay? And what I would tell you, you got to practice. You got to experiment. Grip down. Open the club face. See what happens. Get into an area that's got a launch monitor or a simulator and find out what goes on with that and then take it out on the golf course. See if you can execute that. These are things that are musts for you to have the full arsenal of shots to help you shoot your lowest scores. You don't get to pick your distance. You don't get to go, well, I hit my club 110 yards. I want a 110-yard shot. I'm going to put it 110 and hit it. You don't get that option. You hit your tee shot, and all of a sudden the thing shows up, and it says, you got 86 yards. What are you going to do if you got 86 yards? How are you going to get there? What's the way that you're the most confident and the most comfortable? You got to get out there and practice. And so what I would tell you is experiment with this. Experiment with lengths of swings. Experiment with the collisions, the path. Experiment with the lofts. Don't worry about the slicing of the ball. Don't worry about the shanking. Just experiment with adding some loft, doing some different things, and see what happens and find your comfort. And when you find your comfort, you're going to find lower scores, and you're going to really start to understand how to use these wedges effectively. To improve all parts of your game, subscribe to my channel and click the link below.